Made the connection with 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan. Let's open up the Shanahan Show.
Faithful to him, it's not just a team, it's family.
I appreciate everyone in here. Love you guys.
Yes, sir!
Here's the head coach of your 49ers, Kyle Shanahan.
We got a chance to do something this year, man.
We do with Kyle Shanahan each and every week of the Niners season. Kyle is sponsored by Amici's East Coast Pizzeria. When you want the best pizza in town, Amici's delivers by Friedman's Appliance, proudly serving all of Northern California with a wide selection of luxury appliances. Visit them in Pleasant Hill to see the Friedman's difference. And by Ayala, Morgan, and Bazard. When you've been injured in an auto accident, you don't just need an attorney, you need a heavy hitter. Contact Ayala, Morgan, and Bazard. 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan on the UMA guest line. Kyle, what's going on, man? Week 2, how we doing?
Doing good, guys. How you guys doing?
We're doing well, man. Good to have you, dude. Already, I mean, the injury stuff creeping up, and I know that's been a big story this week. Just wanted to give you an opportunity to I guess, talk about Brock and what the status is. Do you guys have a more firm timeline on what his injury looks like?
Yeah, he won't be playing this week.
Okay, so Brock out this week and still possibly a chance he misses multiple weeks?
Yeah, the same deal, what I said yesterday. Still a chance he can miss the next game. We're not sure. We'll see how the toe heals. I mean, it's kind of week to week right now. But he's getting better, had a good rehab day today, and hopefully we'll have some better luck next week.
Good deal. I heard a comment from Nick Bosa yesterday on Mac Jones starting, and he said he felt better about Mac playing like earlier in the year. He goes, because he's more recently gotten some real reps. He's been in some preseason games, and he said he hasn't been banged around in practice pinballed around by the defense on the scout team. Is that a real thing? You think that's an interesting angle to look at where he's early in the year getting a chance here?
No, but I appreciate Nick's observation. He's probably thinking from a D-line standpoint because they get after the scout team quarterback all the time, which they started to do last week for the first time. Matt got a little irritated with them. But no, I think he's just speaking that way because I think the guy's got a lot of confidence in Mac. He had a great OTAs. He had a great offseason here in training camp. Had a little setback there at the end of training camp, missing those 2 weeks with his knee. But he's been back out here these last 2 weeks, and he'll be ready to go Sunday.
Kyle, you mentioned the similarities between Brock and Mac Jones yesterday. When looking for a backup quarterback this offseason, was it important for you to get a similar skill set to the starter? Like a year ago, Josh Dobbs was the backup, and I could be wrong, but it seems like the offense would have to change what he played.
I think ideally you would like it to be the similar skill set, just so you don't have to do 2 different game plans. But I think every year when you look into it, regardless of what would be the most ideal situation, that really kind of goes out the window. You always want to whoever gives you the best chance to win and who's available. Those come in all shapes and sizes. But that was kind of Mac was our target kind of from the beginning with that, just in the style of play, how much we liked him coming out in college, how much we liked him and when he played earlier at New England. So we felt fortunate to get him, and especially with him being able to play. Well, was hoping it wouldn't be this early. You never want your backup to have to go on because you don't want your starter to get hurt, but we feel really good about our backup quarterback here.
Talking to Kyle Shanahan on the UMA guest line, and yeah, obviously you guys were familiar with Mac since evaluating him from the 2021 draft. What is it about his game that makes him such a good fit in your offense?
Well, I just think he knows how to play the position in terms of he knows how to play in the pocket. He knows how to play in there when a lot of people know how to play in there when the pass rush isn't very good. But he can play in there when the pass rush is really good or when it's not there at all. And he knows how to distribute the ball. He knows how to get the ball to the right spots, and he knows when he can hold on to it, when he can't. And he did that as well as anyone that I've seen coming out of college, and he's shown that in the NFL also.
Has he developed any skills that you maybe didn't see when you evaluated him a few years ago? I was wondering when you look back, you go, man, that developed how I thought it would, or he's added to the game. Is he the same type of quarterback you thought he was when you evaluated out of the draft?
Yeah, I do. I mean, everyone's, I think people usually do get better with experience and stuff, but depending on where you go, so many people have so many different styles. So there was things that we wanted to do with him that he didn't necessarily do in college that I don't think he did at New England or Jacksonville. So those places he wasn't as developed because he hadn't been working on those things. But I think just watching him compared to OTAs here compared to how he was in training camp, I think he's developed a lot in some of the technique and ways that we like a quarterback to play. So I think he's done that here already. And just watching him now, like I think as all of these guys do, they all get a little bigger, a little stronger. When you're in college, you're a young man, and then usually a few years into the NFL, you become a full man, and that adds size, it adds arm strength, and allows guys to take the hits a little bit better.
And a guy that Mac Jones knows well, Kendrick Bourne, returned back to the 49ers this week for the first time since 2020. So what aspect of his game do you value most that you wanted to bring him back 5 years later?
I've always loved just how KB runs his routes. I mean, KB can separate. He plays very strong. He plays big. He runs through the ball, even when KB's covered. The way he'll extend his hands, extend his arms, and run through it. I mean, he's got elite hands in that type of way, and he's always been dependable for us. I think when he was here, his game was similar to Juwan's. He was kind of the Juwan before Juwan. He was our third down guy in a lot of areas. He had such an upbeat personality. I used to call him kind of our team mascot. And then we lost him in free agency. And then Juwan kind of stepped it up and took over that role. And so now just to have two of those guys, they are somewhat different, but their roles were similar in how we used them. And just to be able to bring back a good receiver and for him to be available, especially when we've been down with our injuries and stuff, just felt real fortunate to get him.
Obviously, the offense is going to change in 5 seasons, but does it seem that he is kind of familiar with what you're running throughout this week?
I think route-wise and stuff, yes. But I mean, when you take 5 years off of our terminology and everything, and how much does expand with different personnel, different quarterbacks, so I don't think it's a huge advantage for him. I mean, it's a tough first week for anybody. He's had 3 practices with us. I think he's gotten better each week, and I think he'll even be better on Sunday. But I'd always love to give these guys a little bit more time. Guys like him, guys like Brian Robinson, but they're in some situations where they might get out there a little bit earlier than expected.
Talking to 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan on the Yuma guest line. Seen a report that you guys worked out Mike White, a quarterback who's been around the league for a little while. The other guy, Adrian Martinez, on the practice squad. Right now, is the plan to go with Martinez as the backup?
Yes. We only are allowed 2 practice squad guys up, so we got a few roster situations. If we wanted to sign a guy to our 53, we'd have to cut another guy. And with a number of guys being injured that aren't on IR and things like that, it kind of made it difficult for us to have 3 quarterbacks in the building this week. So we'll see how it continues to go with Brock. Would always like 3 guys available, but on game day, if you don't have 3 guys on your roster, only 2 guys are available anyway. So we'll always go into the game with at least 2. I would love for 3 to be available, but they got to be on your 53 to have that option.
Right, so you've got to put him up, or elevator put him up there to have that option. So what do you like about his skill set? I mean, I know he's been around for a little while. He played 5 years in college and through that 2020 season for Nebraska and K-State. What does he offer skill set-wise?
Well, I didn't know a ton about him, to tell you the truth. I remember watching him out of college. That was a little bit of time ago. But hearing about his XFL, UFL, and the success he's had there, it kind of excited me because I like guys that have been, if he gets thrown in and needs to play, you'd like a guy who's played some football.
Sure.
And the amount of, to play as much as he did in college, but then to not just sit and bounce around NFL teams on practice squad. He's played a lot of game football in the XFL and in the UFL. And being able, I know he was in the Jets building with Saleh for a year, so just being able to talk about Robert before we got him, the type of guy he was, how he kind of ran the scout team offense out there. I felt good getting him, and then being able to watch him all last week, to watch him this week, you can tell he has the poise to play. He's got the ability to play. I really like how he's handled himself on the scout team. And this week he's gotten all the reps, where last week Matt got a ton. But if his number's called, if he needs to go in there, I feel confident with him to go in and run the offense.
Talking to Kyle Shanahan on the Yuma guest line. I know you said your play calling on 4th down in last week's game wasn't dictated by Jake Moody's misses, but had Jake Tunges not caught that pass on 3rd and goal from the 4, were you considering going for it, or would you have just kicked the game to tie it?
I decide a lot of decisions within 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And while Brock was scrambling and I didn't think anyone was open, I was going for it. I was like, all right, let me look. I was about to look down and start to plan a 4th down play because I didn't think anyone was open. And but Brock showed me that someone was, and threw to what I thought was a covered guy, and Jake made a hell of a play on that touchdown. So it was pretty cool. I never had to make that decision.
We were debating that. He said, I don't know. I think they would have kicked it to tie. I was like, I don't know, man. On the road at Seattle. Does on the road play a factor in that in your mind?
I think the main thing is, like, I wasn't going to do it because of the kick. I mean, we were close enough that even though we missed a close one early, I can't dictate that. I got to assume that he's going to be able to do that again. But I think it was more that we had 3 timeouts and they were backed up to where if we didn't get it, we were still going to have them right there. We had the timeouts so they couldn't run out the clock, and we were going to force them to punt and still be real close to field goal range to give them a try if I didn't decide to do it. So I think it was more the timeouts than the time of the game.
A couple more minutes with Kyle Shanahan on the Yuma guest line. So you told a story yesterday about working in Washington and wanting to move on from a kicker, but the coach snapped at you because they didn't want to move on just yet. Then that kicker missed a kick, and then you felt validated. Of course, that coach was your father, and I can relate working with my dad and having disagreements on things. But how difficult is it as an assistant to tell the head coach, whether it was your dad, Dan Quinn, or Mike Pettin, that you disagree with something that they're going about?
I don't know. I think it is hard for a lot of people. I think it's a style of how some people are. I really hate it that way. I always said my opinion, and I think sometimes that helped me and sometimes it hurt me, depending on whoever's personality it is. That can rub someone the wrong way, or sometimes people appreciate it. I hate when people have opinions on our staff that I respect, guys who work at it all the time. If they are going to tell me that they thought something was wrong and they don't tell me until it's already happened, I'm like, where the hell were you to help me out? Like, hey, I might disagree with you, but when do I ever tell someone I don't want to hear their opinion? So I kind of always like it. I think that was one of the advantages, working for my dad, is that, we could go a little bit harder at each other. But I think I always kind of have been that way. You could ask maybe other head coaches, and some liked it, some didn't, but that's something I've really tried to demand from all our guys. Like, if guys aren't speaking up, I kind of ride them about it, and I want to hear about it. And sometimes I don't agree with them, and I might make them. I got to be careful not making them feel dumb if I totally disagree with them, or they'll never do it again. But it's kind of the type of relationship I like to create in here, where you're not scared to challenge each other. Everyone knows who has to make the final decision. Everyone knows who is in charge of that stuff and whose job title is that way. But I don't feel like you need to prove that. I want people to help, and the only way people can help is them telling me what they think. And people who work hard and are prepared, I really want to know what they think.
Voice you hear, 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan. We do it with him every week of the football season. Kyle, have a great trip out to New Orleans. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Take care, man.